You're probably thinking, a month? That's not enough time to become fluent in English. And I get it. It might sound impossible. 1 month? That's a very short time. But let me tell you this. It's definitely possible to make huge progress, and I'm going to explain how you can do it. Now, I want to be clear about something. Fluency doesn't mean you'll know everything or speak like a native speaker. It's about the ability to understand and communicate easily. You might not be perfect, but you'll be able to get your message across and understand others without struggling too much. So, let's start with the big question. How can you become fluent in English in just 1 month? I'll be honest with you. The key to achieving this is immersion. Immersion means surrounding yourself with English all day, every day, in every possible way. It's about creating an environment where English is always present. And the more you immerse yourself in the language, the faster you'll pick it up. Let's break this down step by step. First things first, set your goals. You need to know why you want to become fluent. Do you want to travel? Do you want to work in an English-speaking country? Or maybe you just want to be able to have a conversation with a native speaker. Having a clear goal will keep you motivated when things get tough. And trust me, things will get tough. You'll face challenges, but if you stay focused on your goal, you'll push through them. Now, the most important part, create a daily routine. This is non-negotiable. You can't become fluent if you don't practice every single day. You need to dedicate time to learning English each day, even if it's just 30 minutes or an hour. The key is consistency. So, how should your day look? I'll tell you what worked for me and what has helped others as well. First, start your day with listening practice. You don't have to sit in front of a textbook. You can listen to podcasts, watch TV shows, or listen to audiobooks in English. Pick something that interests you, something fun. I know when I started listening to English in the morning, I'd listen to a podcast while I made breakfast or cleaned up. It wasn't even about understanding every word. It was about getting used to hearing English every day. Your brain will start to absorb the sounds, and that's how fluency begins. After you've had some listening time, it's time to practice speaking. This is where things get serious. I know, speaking in English can be intimidating, especially if you're afraid of making mistakes. But listen, mistakes are the best thing that can happen to you. The more mistakes you make, the more you'll learn. Don't be afraid of them. So what I did was talk to myself. Sounds a bit crazy, right? But I'd repeat phrases or sentences I heard in the podcasts or shows I listened to. Even if no one was around, I'd practice speaking out loud. Here's the trick: shadowing. It's a technique where you listen to a sentence and then immediately repeat it out loud, mimicking the speaker's rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation. It's one of the fastest ways to improve your speaking skills. Find a short video, a podcast, or a YouTube video, and repeat what the speaker says. Try to sound as natural as possible. Over time, you'll notice that your speaking improves dramatically. The third thing I did was focus on high-frequency words and phrases. In just 1 month, you don't have time to learn every single word in the dictionary. Instead, learn the most commonly used words and expressions. This will help you communicate in almost any situation. I focused on learning everyday phrases like, "How are you? What do you do? Where are you from?" These are things people ask in conversations all the time. Once I had a solid understanding of these basic phrases, I could have small conversations with almost anyone. Now, let's talk about reading. You might think, reading doesn't really help with speaking, but it actually does. When you read, you see grammar in action, and you learn new vocabulary and context. I recommend reading books that are easy for you to understand. Don't try to read complex novels in your first month. Stick to books, blogs, or articles that are at your level, and slowly work your way up. The more you read, the more you'll start to understand how sentences are structured in English. And don't just read silently, read out loud. This will help you practice your pronunciation and get comfortable speaking English. I used to read books out loud to myself, and at first, it felt awkward. But after a while, it became second nature, and it helped me sound more fluent. Let's dive into writing. You don't need to write long essays right away, but writing can help you practice what you've learned. Start small. Write a daily journal in English. Write about your day, your thoughts, your goals. Even simple sentences will help you practice grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure. At first, you might make mistakes, and that's totally fine. The more you write, the more you'll improve. And the great thing about writing is that you can always go back and check your mistakes. Writing allows you to see where you need improvement. You'll notice patterns in the mistakes you make, and that gives you a clear idea of what to focus on next. Now, here's a tip that I wish I knew earlier. Immerse yourself in the language in every way possible. One of the best ways to learn English quickly is to surround yourself with it. Watch movies, listen to music, follow English-speaking people on social media. Change the language settings on your phone and social media accounts to English. The more you're surrounded by the language, the quicker you'll pick it up. Another thing I did was engage with native speakers. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to start speaking with native speakers. Use language exchange apps or find conversation partners who want to practice their native language with you. Talking with someone who speaks English every day is one of the fastest ways to improve. And remember, the more you speak, the more fluent you'll become. Here's a big one. Focus on your mindset. If you approach learning English with the idea that you're not good enough or that it's impossible, you'll limit your progress. But if you believe in yourself and embrace the idea that fluency is possible, you'll see results much faster. Think about it. How many times have you heard someone say, "I can't speak English, I'll never be fluent"? That negative mindset holds them back. But if you flip the script and say, "I'm going to get better every day and fluency is within my reach," then you've already set yourself up for success. So stay positive, stay focused, stay motivated, and don't be afraid to take risks. Fluency comes from pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're not challenging yourself, you're not growing. So speak up, try new things, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Here's another tip. Find a language learning community. Being part of a community can motivate you to keep going. There are plenty of online communities where you can interact with other English learners and share tips, experiences, and resources. It's not just about learning the language, it's about staying motivated together. By the end of the month, you'll be amazed at how much progress you've made. But again, let's keep things in perspective. Fluency in English isn't a destination, it's a process. So even after this month, continue practicing and improving every day. Keep listening, keep speaking, keep reading, and keep writing. At the end of the day, fluency is all about consistency. If you stick with it and practice every day, you'll be fluent before you know it. In 1 month, you can transform your English skills. And who knows? By the end of the month, you might not be perfect, but you'll definitely be able to have conversations with ease, understand more of what you hear, and feel much more confident speaking English. The first thing I want to tell you is that everyone's journey is different. Some people will improve quickly, while others might take a bit longer. But that's okay. The key is to focus on your own progress and not compare yourself to others. If you get frustrated because someone else seems to be learning faster than you, remember, their journey is not your journey. You're making progress in your own way, at your own pace, and that's something to be proud of. I remember when I first started, I'd sometimes feel like I wasn't improving fast enough. I'd see other learners speaking fluently and it made me question my abilities. But once I stopped comparing myself and started focusing on the small wins, like understanding a sentence I couldn't understand a week ago, or successfully having a short conversation, I realized I was getting better, day by day. And that's what you need to keep reminding yourself of. Small progress is still progress. Learning a language is not about making huge leaps every day. It's about taking small, consistent steps that add up over time. Let's talk a little more about consistency. It's not just about studying for an hour every day. It's about incorporating English into your everyday life. For instance, I didn't just practice English in isolation. I began thinking in English, even when I wasn't actively studying. If I was going out for groceries, I'd think about how I'd describe the items in English. If I was going for a walk, I'd think about the things I could see and try to describe them in English. It's the little moments where you can practice that really matter. When you can switch to thinking in English, you'll see a huge difference in your fluency. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's a gradual process that will speed things up. Just do what